The principle above leads, below follows, first applies to the evolution of the individual. An order is perfect, natural, and may be called cosmic, when it makes sure that the smaller beings follow the greater ones, who stand higher on the ladder of hierarchy. A donkey does what the rider says. The spirit directs the body, and we humans follow the beings of the higher levels, the saints and spiritual heroes, sons of God like Jesus, Buddha and Mohammed and the Mahatmas. When the rider subordinates himself to the will of the donkey, or the spirit to the body, then the cosmic order is turned upside down, and both miss their mission. The subjection of the lower to the higher lies at the foundation of cosmos. But that which should be dominant, humanity, subjects to the lower. Only the higher can uplift the lower. Evolution according to the hierarchic principle means, if you want to become greater, if you want to let your soul grow, you have to orientate yourself on those who stand above you, who have already reached the level that you still wish to climb. It would be downright stupid if you would refuse to be guided by those who have already acquired that what you still want to learn. To those who cannot accept the concept of the leader, let us say, all your words presuppose the priority of something or someone. You yourself do not notice that each of your affirmations is based upon a discovery of something established by someone. There is no man who can get along without being taught. One must not become proud in one's own heart. The understanding of hierarchy will help to establish the manifestation of the leader, who, in relation to the higher ones, is not a leader, but a follower. If everybody had to learn by using only his personal experience, rejecting the leading hand, we would not have moved far from our ancestors of the Stone Age. From the principle of hierarchy follows the practice of succession. You emulate your teacher, your spiritual guide, who himself follows an even greater one. And your own disciples, your smaller brothers and sisters, follow you. One should follow a hierarch in full trust, just as the hierarch follows his own hierarch. Without real, concrete succession in the middle of everyday life, hierarchy is no more than a fruitless abstraction. We are talking about this most important topic in more detail in the broadcasting How Do You Find Your Teacher? Only the realization of the higher will can lead the spirit toward its goal. It is a natural endeavor of every creature, not just of humans, to seek and imitate someone greater than himself. In approaching a greater one, we grow. What motivates you? What awakens in you the childlike enthusiasm to develop, to grow? Surely only the knowledge, the experience that there actually are greater beings who are ahead of you, who have already reached the next level, and whom you may imitate. If you do not admit the existence of the best and the most luminous, then there is no need to safeguard and perfect your own monad. The existence of hierarchy is the foundation of the entire life. Your personal evolution will make progress only if you set out on the path to the top, to the higher levels, ultimately to God. Personal development means ascent on the ladder of hierarchy. Only the chain of hierarchy will give the possibility of ascent. The illumination of the Spirit is assuredly the path following the highest hierarchy. Hence, those who search for truth can find the significance of beingness only in the path of ascent toward hierarchy. Otherwise, life remains a vicious circle, and for millenniums the spirit will not find its liberation. The principle above leads and below follows applies not only to the individual, but also to the evolution of human society as a whole. The hierarchic principle appears as the basis of every construction. Hierarchy and the creation of a new consciousness are affirmed as the cornerstone of evolution. The society of the future will come true when we put into effect an age-old principle. As above, so below. Evolution according to the hierarchic principle means concretely the laws that apply in the higher worlds in heaven must apply on earth as well. The forces of hierarchy are joined across two worlds. The guiding principle and the principle of fulfilling the great will are one source. Worlds are built upon these two principles. For each one on the path, there is but one immutable might, hierarchy. Upon this sacred principle one may construct. Upon this stronghold the spirit becomes winged. Upon this summit can be built a mighty evolution. In other words, in the new world, the cosmic order applies. What do you understand by cosmic order? The laws and principles which govern the higher world, above all, truth, justice, beauty, and love. This planet will only recover. Distress, suffering, greed, violence, selfishness, poverty, and unemployment will only disappear if we actually enforce these principles down here. Then the much invoked and dreamt of kingdom of God will reign on earth as well. We had already discussed this concept in detail in our broadcastings on the New World. On the other hand, where untruth, injustice, ugliness, and unkindness rule, the cosmic order is being trampled upon, and from this only chaos will result. How can we realize this noble goal? It is important for you to realize no abstract system can create the cosmic order on Earth. Only living people can do that. Principles as such cannot prevail. Only human beings can make them rule. Man is the creative fulfiller of the cosmic will. Personal desires are transformed into the all-guiding universal will. The realization of the hierarchic principle, above leads and below follows, therefore requires in practice we establish the concept of leadership. What do you mean by that? Those who have climbed up higher on the ladder of hierarchy must take the lead also in society. This applies not only to larger entities, such as the state, but also to smaller ones, such as business enterprises, schools, and families. Only in this way we can make sure that above actually leads and below actually follows, by which a higher order is established on earth. Hierarchy and leadership are affirmed by the cosmic law. When the higher dominates, then the lower, through transmutation, is regenerated into the quality of a higher order. No community, not even a band of robbers, can exist without leadership. Otherwise, it will break apart, especially the smaller souls who do not know the way and are hardly able to cope with the demands of everyday life on their own, are in urgent need of reliable leadership. The thinker, Plato, once saw a shepherd who was followed by his large flock of sheep. The thinker smilingly asked, "By what magic do you compel the animals to follow you so obediently?" The shepherd answered, "I live with them and love them, and they feel that they are safe if they follow me." Like the animals, for example, the migratory birds, we humans as well seek a leader. Certainly, nations are looking for a leader, because even an established prestige cannot sustain those people who think erroneously. Neither gold, nor vulgar, glamorous names, nor piles of inapplicable counsels will save a nation. What state flourishes without a great leader? What affirmed undertaking has existed without a leader? Verily, one must understand that the concept of a leader is the synthesis of all the highest strivings. Thus, only the concept of hierarchy, of an illumined leader, can direct the spirit. Thus we proclaim the leader, the hierarch. That is the natural consequence and realization of the universal hierarchic principle. When the people of the world come to recognize the fact of the disciples' impersonality, compassion, and desire to serve them unselfishly, they will do as they have always done, follow like sheep that disciple who has been made their leader by the very force of his devotion to them, individually and collectively. The leader shows the future. Each of his actions impels forward. He must bring the people to the mount of perfection. Today's man, who prefers to put himself at the head, and even in the place of God, does not want to admit this longing. It may be observed how furiously people are now objecting to the concept of leader, and at the same time they are ardently awaiting him. Nations are realizing that life is wearisome without a hero. Everywhere one can see this longing for powerful leadership, in cultural, in social, in governmental life. Being a German, it terrifies me just to hear the word Führer, leader. Is not there a great danger of abuse of power? Yes, the dark forces have destroyed, or at least discredited, many indispensable foundations. In Agni Yoga, however, leader is a key notion. Of course, not even the highest concept is immune against abuse. Just think of what has been committed in the name of Christendom. In order to counter this danger, we have to develop such a sensitivity of the heart that we can reliably distinguish true from false leaders. You have to recognize a leader and an impostor when you see one. This requires a lot of practice, refinement, and expansion of consciousness. It is not easy to sense whether someone else stands hierarchically above or below you. You have to learn that, because if you are wrong, that will have terrible consequences. Then you will follow a wrong leader in the wrong direction, namely into the abyss. We send messengers of truth, whose task is to repeat untiringly about the future steps of evolution. Respect those who lead others unto the right path. Your reservations against the introduction of the hierarchic principle will dissipate when you keep in mind the leader to whom you ought to submit is someone who is greater and wiser than you, someone who knows better than you yourself what is good and what is bad for you. To a true master of life, you will voluntarily and even happily subordinate yourself. Remember to what an extent people are in need of the concept of a leader. They want to have someone who will be a guarantor before the highest. They understand how impossible it is to find the path without this link. One who has been warmed by the sun carries warmth with him. People wish to warm themselves in proximity to him. Is it not the same with the flaming heart, which is in communion with the fiery world? People hasten to the glowing heart to warm themselves. Simple and close is the presence of the higher world.